We are going to demystify the retirement accounts. We're going to take a peek at the 401k, traditional Roth IRAs, as well as the HSA. We'll take a peek at some of the tax implications, as well as contribution limits, and some other factors about them that you need to know. But this is a basic understanding for those who are confused about what are these retirement accounts and how do they work. First, let's start off by an example. Pretend that your retirement accounts are like cookie jars, but inside of the cookie jars, you have a variety of cookies. Maybe it's chocolate chip, maybe it's peanut butter or oatmeal. Who knows what kind of cookies are in there? Each company provides different funds. It could be mutual funds, index funds, stocks, bonds. There's a variety of cookies inside each of those different accounts, and we'll look at some of those things moving forward. What's your favorite cookie? Comment down below, let me know. Mine's chocolate chip, followed up by a cold glass of milk. Let's start with the 401k. This is a employer-sponsored retirement account. If you're in a public sector like teaching or in a federal government, they'll probably have a 403b, which is very similar. Let's focus on the 401k. Most 401ks have matching contributions where your employer will match up to a certain percentage of what you put in. For example, if you make $50,000 a year and you contribute 4%, you're going to put in $2,000 a year. If your company has a 4% match, that means they're going to also put in $2,000 a year. May not seem like a lot, but $2,000, if you invest that each year over the course of a career of 30 years, so let's say you start when you're 25, and at 55, you invested $2,000 a year into your 401k, found some nice mutual funds or index funds with easily average 8% interest, you're talking about having $250,000. Now, if you get the match, you're getting another $250,000. That is $500,000 off of a 4% contribution. That's not taken in consideration over 30 years, getting raises and slowly increasing that, getting out of debt, having more money to put into those types of accounts. There is great power in the 401k. So some of the rules about the 401k, there are contribution limits. As of the making of this video, the contribution limit is $22,500 annually. Unless you're 50 and older, then you can contribute up to $30,000. There are some stipulations. One of the benefits is it is contributed before taxes, and it's going to go into your account. Then they'll figure out taxes after that distribution has been made to your retirement. So you save on taxes now. As it grows, accumulate over years, when you go to withdraw that, then you will pay taxes on the growth based on whatever your tax bracket at that time is. There's another stipulation with 401ks that you need to know about. It's called the RMD, Required Minimum Distribution. The reason this is because the IRS wants to make sure they get their money at some point. So they allow you to put it in tax-free. They allow it to grow tax-free. But when you hit 72, and that's just changed up to 73, but we won't get into all of that. When you hit 72, you have to take out a certain amount. And there's a formula the IRS uses, and it's clear as mud. We'll do another video maybe on RMDs. But just know at 72, you have to start taking out a required minimum distribution. That's because Uncle Sam wants to make sure he can start taxing on that growth and get the money that he wants. So that is one of the drawbacks of that. We will get into that more at another time. Now let's look at the IRA. IRA stands for Individual Retirement Arrangement. Most people know it as the Individual Retirement Account, but the official name by the IRS is arrangement, not account. We're going to stick with account because that's the street name and we're street savvy. Now, the IRA, the traditional, is very much like a 401k. The money goes in pre-tax. This is an individual account. This isn't sponsored by your employer. You go to a broker and you open up an account and you have a contribution limit annually of $6,500. Unless you're 50 and older, there's a catch-up phase where you can add $1,000 extra. So if you're 50 and older, you can contribute up to $7,500. Also, there's RMD at 72. If you have these accounts when you're 72, you're going to have to take out the required minimum distribution. So the RMD is in place. There's also the money grows tax-free, and when you go to get it out, you're going to pay taxes. So that's very much similar to a 401k. It's just a smaller amount that you can contribute. It's individually owned and run. It's not sponsored by your employer, and it gives you that opportunity to add extra funds. The good thing about IRAs is you usually have a wider array of investments. You're not stuck with whatever the 401k employer-sponsored fund has, which is usually limited to mutual funds and some bonds and some other like target date funds. In the traditional IRA, there are a wider array, even individual stocks that you can invest in. Even though I don't advocate doing that, I believe you should focus on diversification through index funds, ETFs, and we'll get into that more. Let's talk about the Roth IRA. The Roth IRA is very much like the traditional IRA with a few keynote differences. First, with the Roth IRA, whatever money you put in is put in after you've paid taxes. So you're paying your tax on that now. But the benefit of that is it grows tax-free. And when you go to withdraw your money, it is taken out tax-free, which is a great tool for your retirement and your financial independence. So we will look at that deeper at another time. Another benefit of the Roth is there are no RMDs. There's no required minimum distribution at 72. So when you hit 72, you do not have to take out a certain amount. Uncle Sam doesn't care because he's not going to get any tax off of it, so he doesn't care if you just keep it in there. That's a great benefit to that. Now, there are income limitations. If you're single at $138,000 annually, it begins to taper off to how much you can actually put in there. We will get into that, but not here. If you're married, it's around $200,000, $215,000. If you're over that income on your modified adjusted gross income, if you're over that amount, then it phases out and then you can't contribute at all. But if you're under those amounts, you have nothing to worry about. You can contribute the full contribution limit, just like the traditional, $6,500 a year, or if you're 50 and older, $7,500 a year. So the benefit of this is the tax-free growth and the tax-free withdrawal when you go to use it. Okay, now my favorite, the triple threat to retirement accounts, the HSA, Health Savings Account. If you have a qualifying medical coverage plan, which is a high deductible, then you can qualify for an HSA. I've had several people asking me, because I've mentioned these before, what is an HSA? Why is it so good? And how does it work? Well, let me give you a quick overview, and we'll get into this. I'm going to do a whole separate video just on HSAs because there's a lot to unwrap with them. But an HSA is a way to put money aside for medical expenses. Here's the triple threat to it. You get to deduct it now, so you don't pay taxes now. The money comes out, goes into your HSA, no taxes on that money. As that money grows over years, it grows tax-free, no penalties. And then if you use it for health purposes, including premiums when you are not covered, you can take it out tax-free. And a bonus, when you get to a certain age, 65, you can take the money out for non-medical reasons. Now, you will pay taxes on that because you're not using it for medical, but you can be assured that if it's in there, you don't have to worry that you only have to use it for medical. There's some other great highlights about what you can do with it. We'll get into that at another time. The HSA, just like the IRAs, have a contribution limit. $3,800 if you're on a single coverage, and $7,500 if you are on a family plan. Those amounts are often partly contributed by an employer, so look into that option as well. There are no RMDs because there's no tax penalty on that for pulling it out, so the government doesn't care if you keep it in there. There are some other factors to look at, but again, that's just a general overview, and it works just like a retirement account. You have cash in this cookie jar, the HSA, and you can purchase and invest in various cookies, mutual funds, index funds. Now, a key that you need to make sure, if you plan on actually using it for health purposes, make sure you don't invest all of it. I suggest keeping in cash in the HSA fund the amount that covers your deductible, the amount that covers how much you would have to pay out of pocket, because you don't want to have to go into the invested portion. You want to have some cash in that. You don't have to withdraw the money at the time that you have the medical expense. So there are great benefits to putting that money in there and letting it grow. Again, a lot to unwrap there, and we'll get into that in another video. So let's recap real quick. Here's my suggestion. When you're getting ready to make investments into your retirement accounts, do it in this order. First, get your 401k match. That is free money. As soon as you put that money in, you have a 100% return on investment. You're not going to beat that anywhere in the market. Get the match first. Then whatever extra amount you have that you want to invest into retirement accounts, into a Roth IRA, and max that out. If you're maxing that out, I also suggest, if you have it eligible, get into the HSA and max that out. Now, if you're at a place where you're able to get the match, max out your Roth, and max out an HSA, and you still have money to invest, then go back to your 401k and put as much into that as you can until it's maxed out. Look into the accounts, look at what you can invest in within those accounts. Remember, the account, 401k, IRAs, HSAs, are the cookie jars. The mutual funds, index funds, stocks, bonds are the cookies inside of that account. I hope this helps. I look forward to sharing more on some of these accounts, going deeper into them, how they impact you, and how they can be your greatest tool to financial freedom.